All right, golf fans, welcome back. Happy Monday, everyone. It is time for the two-man scramble. Last week, we had a great guest in Ken Keller, who's currently wrapping up stage 2 of qualifying school. Didn't go as planned, but still, he's doing that. And I have a new guest on, and this is someone that I've followed on Instagram for a long time. I think we follow each other, actually.
Yep, we do.
And lo and behold, he's a Steeler fan. That's kind of what caught my attention. Started communicating with him. We'll talk about the Steelers a little bit later. But Kane Daignault, what's up, Kane? How are you?
Great, Jeff. How you doing?
I'm doing great. It's good to talk to you, man. And I've watched your content for a long time. I've liked your content. I think it's awesome. And I was like, hey, let's have you on the show and I want to pick your brain a little bit, so to speak. So
All right.
welcome to the Fairways and Dreams podcast. And let's start out with the way we should. And that's it. You're a father, right? Let's hear a little bit of background about you and your family.
Yeah, I got one daughter. We live here in Western Pennsylvania. She's 11 years old. Been married now for almost 17 years,
Okay.
and been teaching for 17 years, and coaching for 16.
Now, how old are you?
I'm 46,
46. Very
and I'll
good.
be
So,
I'll be 47 next week.
oh, well, happy early birthday then. There,
Thank you.
yeah, happy birthday. So, your daughter said is 11 years old, correct?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. I've got 5 and there's always ones around that age. So does your daughter golf?
I get her out there every once in a while. Yeah, it's a little bit of a struggle. It's like pulling teeth a little bit, but she gets out there. I like her just to enjoy the game a little bit. I don't try to make her like go out there and play in tournaments or anything just yet. But I hope she takes up the game at some point.
Yeah, I mean, for sure. It is fun. And I think that your approach is good. I've talked about this on my podcast before where I don't think that with kids you can really force feed things like that. Like they have to want to do it. I think your approach is definitely warranted. I did it with my kids. They seem to come to the game on their own. I didn't force feed them into golf or anything like that. But nonetheless, yeah, it's exciting. Has there been a moment with your daughter on the golf course that you remember that you always maybe remember? Maybe it was the first time, maybe it was the first big putt that she made. Anything like that ever happen?
Yeah, you know what? I used to work at a local golf course here during the summer, and so we'd go out there in the evenings and stuff. And
Mhm.
there was this par three where I dropped a couple balls about I don't know 25 yards off the green, and I want to kick myself for not having the camera out, but she chipped it in from like about 25 yards
Uh,
off. And I was like, that's amazing. And at that point, I had not chipped in like a ball all summer long. And I was like, you just chipped in and did something I haven't done all year. And then she did it again like 2 weeks later from this impossible lie. Like I wasn't even watching. She hit the ball in the hole like from like this weird lie up on a hill. And so that was pretty cool, like to watch that happen.
but that wasn't enough to hook her though. Like, see,
It
she's still
was
kind of like,
she's like she's not very competitive, like, she just wants to, like, it's cool. She's a cool kid, and,
yeah.
I'm not gonna force anything on her, and, like I said, I just hope she takes up the game for fun at some point, and I can go out and take her out there and maybe play in a parent,
Yeah.
kid kinda tournament someday.
For sure, for sure. I know that one, like for instance, my oldest 2 kids, 15 and will be 13 in January. They are like the ride or die crew in terms of like they will play no matter what. It
Yeah,
doesn't matter what conditions, hot, cold, whatever. If I'm golfing and I'm taking kids, they want to
yeah.
go. My third daughter, she's like a fair weather golfer. Like in the summer, it's too hot. And then in the winter, it's too cold. And I said, "What the heck? Like, what are you like an orchid? You know, it has to have the perfect temperature all the time." And
Yeah,
she's
right. Not and not around this part, you're not gonna get that either too
not
often.
very long, not very
No,
long.
no. That sounds like about 90% of the girls on my golf team too, so, that they're kinda like fair weather players as well.
Well, let's transition to that. You are a teacher, and you said that you teach accounting. So you're a high school teacher, and have you always taught that subject, or did
Yep.
you go to accounting? You've always taught accounting.
No,
That's fantastic.
I went to, I worked at US Steel for a couple years. I was an internal auditor there, and, my wife's a teacher, and,
Okay.
I don't know, I was just driving downtown every day, that was just wearing on me, and, so I thought to myself, one of my favorite jobs when I was younger was working at a day camp, YMCA day camp. So I went back for teaching and worked now at Franklin Regional for like 17 years.
That's fantastic. I taught for 16 years. I was a PE teacher in middle school, and
Yeah,
now this is my full-time job, but still, yeah, it's not for everyone, I'll tell you that. But
it's
I
not
do
for
know
everybody.
I coached lacrosse, men's lacrosse for 13 years, and so I'm very familiar with the high schoolers and that type of stuff. So you've coached golf for a long time. I would love to know because I played in high school. Now my high school was definitely not the norm. Went to a private school. Things were done a little bit different that way. But would you say like when your golf team, how many kids typically try out for your team every single year?
We will get anywhere from about 10 to 20 kids, 10 to 20
Wow.
girls. Yeah. And I keep everybody. I don't cut anybody because I've seen it so many times where I get a ninth grade girl and she's never played before. And normally, typically, she would be cut on a normal team and she becomes like a contributor, when she's a
Yeah.
junior or senior. So I've seen it enough times where I'm just like, I'm not going to cut anybody. So yeah, we got a pretty good program and like I said, 10 to 20 girls normally.
So do you have is it just girls golf or is it co-ed? Because where I grew
No,
up, it's
yeah,
just girls.
yeah, it's just girls. We have a just girls team.
Oh, wow. That's fantastic. So you have that
Yeah,
many girls that are interested in the game. Like, so
yeah.
how many of the girls that come out, are there any? I'm sure there are some that have like, hey, I want to play, but I've never played this game before. Do you have a lot of that, or do you have kids that typically have experience in the game?
No, I get a few of those every year where I get
Yeah.
a girl coming out just for first time. I mean, it's the first time she's ever picked up sticks, and so I have an assistant coach, and she kind of takes those kids and she works with those kids, and I kind of work with the varsity players, and she does a real good job developing those girls.
So, would you all take a bus? Like, this is going to sound really silly. It all makes sense. When you have a match, and let's say it's at another school's home course, do you all get on a school bus? Like, how does your school handle that?
We used to get on a school bus, and my back would hurt so bad after those school bus rides that I told the AD that if I can't rent a car or rent a vehicle, that I'm going to quit as a coach because my back was just
Yeah.
terrible. And so I am allowed now to rent. He allows me to rent a vehicle. He's a great AD, and he allows me to rent a vehicle from Enterprise and I take that to the matches because we only
So,
take 5 girls.
okay.
So
Yeah.
you can fit 5 girls and me and all the clubs in the back, and yeah, we get in there and I just drive them, and I'm like the dad slash coach driving these 5 girls around.
Now you want to hear something crazy. So if your girls are ever complaining, you say, "Hey, I was on this podcast with a guy." So I graduated high school in 2001 from Wheeling Central Catholic High School back in Wheeling, West Virginia. Shout out to the Maroon Knights. Really good golf program. And so you would be numbered based on how successful you were on the team. So we had our number one golfer,
Mhm.
number two, all the way down. We took six typically to most matches, and the six would just play nine after everyone else went out. So needless to say, our coach, Mickey Duffy, and he's still hanging around there somewhere in Wheeling. I know he is. He had one of those vans like you just mentioned, but I kid you not, there were only seats for three people. You had the person riding shotgun, who was the number three golfer. The one and two got the bench seat. Everyone else had to sit in the way back with the golf clubs and on a spare tire. I mean, you're an educator, man. Could you
Yeah,
imagine that happening in today's day?
that's not gonna fly in today's world. Yeah, I'm getting fired right when I come back to the school if that happens ever.
We would go down to states. We'd go to state tournaments. And like my senior year state tournament was in Morgantown, West Virginia, and we were driving almost an hour and a half. And some people were not talk about seat belts. Shoot, we're not even on a seat. Screw a
That's
seatbelt. We don't
crazy.
have a seat.
That's crazy. Yeah, that's wild. No, we rent one with seat belts. Yeah.
So next time your girls complain, say, "Hey, there's a guy I know that he didn't even have a seat." And so when I was a freshman, I was sitting back in the golf clubs the entire
Yeah,
time wherever we
that's
went.
wild. That's
Yeah, that
wild.
sucked.
Yeah.
So, but as a coach, how comfortable are you giving swing advice? Because that is something that to me is very delicate. Like some people
Ye-
are comfortable, and then there's the whole swing your own swing phenomenon that's out there, which I'm a big supporter of. How are you in terms of comfort, like being comfortable giving swing advice to your team?
Yeah, I'm with you, Jeff. Like, I'm a big swing your swing guy. Like, whatever swing you got, and especially in season. I don't mess with that. I don't tinker with their swing too often. A lot of them go to coaches, like swing coaches that
Yeah.
are trained professionals that watch their swings, and that's not me. I'm an accounting teacher. Um, and so I work a lot like with game management. The management part is they lack pretty. They're not very good with game management. Let's just put it nicely. That we'll say it like that. So I help them out with that game management, how to hit like a punch shot, like where to aim the shot, like where to be safe with the shot. Um, just things to think about when they're out there on the golf course rather than trying to tinker with their swings because I don't feel like I'm that comfortable tinkering with swings. I'm always amazed at people who can just like look at a swing and be like, you know what, this is what you're doing. And
Yeah.
and that's not I can't do that. Um and so yeah, I take the position of swing your own swing and let's try to manage your game and get around this course in as little strokes as possible.
I think that's a good approach as a coach because if I think back when I was in high school, my coach didn't know a thing. He literally was just transportation to and from the school to
Yeah.
the course. Like that was it.
Yeah.
And if we had a home match, we just got there ourselves. But if we were on the road, we had to ride in the van. And he never once even gave us any advice, which he wasn't really a golfer. He just kind of did it as a side gig to make some money on the side. That's the area of my game that I wish someone would have worked with me on is course management. It's not trying to make the hero shot. Instead, play it smart
Yep.
and you'll manage the course a lot better. I feel like as a young golfer, like you're doing it the right way. I think that's a great approach. Do you have any crazy stories about your 16 years of coaching? Anything that's happened on a golf course that you were like, I can't believe this just happened, whether it's good or bad?
Um, a really good thing here this past year is one of my girls won like the county championship.
Oh, nice.
We won 43 matches in a row. We haven't lost in 43 section matches.
Wow.
Yeah, so we've done really well. As far as crazy stories, you know, nothing like it so much on the course, but I think one of my most memorable stories is we were riding to the county tournament actually, and I always stop and get like Panera for the girls,
Mhm.
and I got everybody bagels, and so we're passing the bagels around. The girls are passing. I'm driving down the road, and one of these girls in the back, she gets one of the big tubs from Panera, the big tubs of cream cheese,
Yeah.
and she like sticks her fork in there and just starts eating the cream cheese. Now that cream cheese was like for everybody, and you know how cream cheese from Panera is like $8. I don't know how much it is. It's crazy. And so
Yeah.
she ate all that cream cheese, and that's the most mad I've ever been on a golf for my golf team is like this girl eating Panera cream cheese and ruined it for everybody. No one got any cream cheese.
If that's the worst thing that's ever happened to you as a golf coach, because literally we used to terrorize our coach.
Yeah,
It was
we
be
did too.
happy.
We
Okay.
did too. I think about it all the time. I just went golfing with my friends, some high school buddies, and we were just talking about how we used to terrorize our high school
Oh,
golf
yeah.
coach and how I feel terrible about it now, you know?
Hey, if the worst thing that happens is that one of your girls eats $8 of cream cheese, then so be it.
You know what?
I
You're
w
right.
I wanna ask you some general golf questions as it pertains to the game. So you're an influencer. I would call you an influencer. You have, like, 11,000 followers on Instagram. Um, I wanna ask you, and this is something that's definitely caught my attention now, and I'm not sure if it's new to the game or it's just the fact that everyone has a camera in their pocket and their cell phones. What do you think about the state of the game of golf? And that's a very broad-based question, but there are things that I see that I think are very positive, and then there's things that I see that are just downright it just takes it's kind of taken aback, whether you see fighting on the golf course,
Mhm.
stuff like that, just really drunken antics, which that's not me. I don't know, I don't doubt that's you either, as considering you're an educator and you're a coach and you're a leader in the society. What do you think about the state of the game, though, as you think about golf from a broad-based perspective?
I think it's in a good place. Oops, I'm always amazed by the. You still hear me?
Yeah, you're good.
Okay, I thought I had said something. I'm always amazed by the number of kids now, 20-year-olds, teenagers that are playing the game and like love the game. And a lot of them, I think, they go out there and they respect the game, they respect the course. There are a few, like you said, that are
Yeah.
going out there and doing stupid stuff, but I think it's cool. Like, I mean, like, it's just since COVID, it's like all these kids just started playing golf. The golf courses are packed now. I think it's in a good place. Like that golf courses are really doing well, and I think it's a positive thing. Like I said, I got 20 girls coming out for golf now. The parents are pushing them that way. And aside from kids doing stupid stuff and just doing it for views on
Yeah.
Instagram or on TikTok, um, you know, aside from that, like, I think it's in a good place.
Yeah, and most of the stuff that I see that is kind of off-putting about the game are they're not young kids that are doing it.
Yeah,
It's these adults that are doing it.
yeah,
I'm thinking,
yeah,
you know, these fights and this drunken debauchery on the golf course, and I'm like, man, like this ain't it. Like for me, that like
yeah,
it's not it. Like this is not the game of golf. But I agree with you. I have seen a lot of younger clientele at the golf course, which is great to see because it's not a cheap sport. And I don't know
no,
about in your area in Western PA, but here in Maryland where I live, it can be really pricey. I mean, you're talking about shoot, even now, and you're talking November, early December. Some courses are still charging $50 for
yeah.
18 holes in a cart. Like that just seems astronomical, not to mention
It's
the cost of clubs.
yeah, it's crazy how much golf is costing right now. Like with the prices going up, I just can't believe some of these courses are
Yeah.
charging the prices that they charge. And you go there and their course is packed, and I'm just like, okay. I mean, that's if the prices are justified then, but
Yeah.
it is an expensive sport.
For sure. Hey, what got you into starting Instagram, TikTok, and starting the golf influencer type thing? I'm sure you didn't do it to become an influencer, yet here you are, and
Yeah,
you've got the links and all that stuff that you're sharing, and you're probably making a little side cash, which is great. That's good for you. What got you started with that?
yeah, that's a good question. I used to just make videos like during COVID, just with my daughter. We'd be out back in my backyard and we just do stupid stuff and it was on my personal page. And I
Mhm.
had a couple of like kids who had graduated who followed me on Instagram, my personal page, and I would see them at the golf course and stuff. And they said to me, like, you should start like a golf page and you should start a TikTok page or something like that. And so I did. That's what I started. And I never, like you said, I never got into it to like do anything with it, never thinking. And then, you get a couple videos go viral, and then you got 1,000 followers, and then you got a couple of thousand followers. And so it was all just a couple kids, some former students of mine who just kind of encouraged me to go that way and said like, "Hey, that's some pretty entertaining stuff you're putting together, and you should try to do something with it." So that's kind of where it came from.
Yeah, I mean, I started my page, which is tiny compared to yours, but I have over 1,000 followers. I just started it so that I could share my kids' golf videos. Like I would
Yeah,
film them when they're out there golfing, and they're hacking around, and they want me to film them. Sure, and I would put a little compilation up there, and they can see how they progressed and how they've grown and stuff.
yeah,
And then people started to follow along, and then it's turned into a golf podcast and all this stuff. So, no, that is really cool, and it's weird how it starts, but I think that I like how you're really big on asking questions about the rules of the game. Have you found that a lot of people do or don't know the actual rules when you throw out that topic of what is the ruling on this particular situation? What's your take on the general public's knowledge of the rules?
my take is that I don't even know the rules because I'm always amazed by like some of the answers, and I'm like, wait a minute. And then I look into it a little deeper, and I'm like, wow, that is the rule, and I thought it was the other way. And but it normally is pretty split 50-50. But at the same time, most people are like, hey, if you're playing in a casual game, you do what
Yeah.
you want. If you're playing in a tournament, this is how you got to play it. And I understand that, but obviously I'm asking what the actual rule is.
Right.
And but yeah, I find that most people don't know the rules.
Yeah. Well, it's
Yeah,
tough. I mean, it's a game that is insane in terms of the rules and the minutia of those rules. And I'm sure you probably remember when Craig Stadler got disqualified because he put a towel down to kneel underneath a tree,
Yeah.
and they got called on improving his lie, and he
Yep.
signed an incorrect card. Like, some of that stuff is just incredibly mind-numbingly stupid. I'll ask this question. We'll wait till the rapid fire because I asked this question to Ken last week, and so we'll see. But I do want to ask you one last question before we get there. You seem like a pretty fit guy. How do you handle fitness in golf? Do you work out regularly? Do you do workouts that are typically geared towards golf, or do you just like exercising on your own?
Yeah, I just like exercising. I don't normally typically try to exercise for golf.
Yeah,
I just kind of go to the gym, and one day do chest, one day do legs, one day
there you go.
do arms. So usually try to go 4 or 5 times a week, and I usually spend just about 45 minutes there.
There you
I
go.
don't try to go too long. I hate cardio. I don't do any cardio. Like the most cardio I do is walk a golf course or something like that. But my brother, he wanted me to do like some marathon, and I'm like, you're absolutely crazy. Like I would never do that ever. Why would anyone do that?
Yeah.
And so I don't do any cardio, but just lift here and there.
Are you a hoofer like me? Like, I love to walk the golf
I
course.
love walking. Yeah,
So you do
yeah.
most of the time? Okay, good.
I
Yeah,
don't do it most of the time because my friends would never do it.
yeah.
But just today I went out right after school and played a couple holes with one of my former kids, and we walked. We walk every time we go out there, and I mean I love walking. I think it's like
Yeah.
just way more peaceful. You get like more sense of you're playing the game of golf. It's a good walk.
Yeah, I told my kids, I said, "I didn't ride golf carts until I was almost in college, so you're gonna learn the way I did, and that's like with the
Yeah,
bag on your back, and you're gonna walk it out, and you're gonna learn as you go." I feel like you learn the etiquette of the game so much better when you walk.
yeah, I
Whether it's
agree.
okay, I can while that person's hitting, I can walk on this side of the fairway and go to my ball, so you play a faster brand of golf. I also am aware of who's hitting, and so I never have my back to them. I know where to put my bag, where the course is set up. Every beginner, in my opinion, should learn by walking the golf course, not by riding in a golf cart. But that's just
Yeah,
me.
I agree totally. And if you talk to the kids that are like 16, 17 years old, they don't want any piece of walking anymore. It's like
Yeah.
that isn't even in their thought process. Like they want to go get a cart, ride around in the cart, and
Yeah.
go play some golf. Yeah,
All right, coach, you ready for some rapid fire?
yeah, let's do it.
All right. So, what's your favorite club in the bag? That one club, no matter what, that you got it in your hands, and that's the money club.
I'd say 9 iron.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. What about if you had to choose between, hey, I got to nail a 10-foot putt, or I got to lace it down the middle of the fairway on a drive where it's a real tight fairway? Which one are you leaning towards?
100% 10-foot putt.
Okay.
I get a little sporadic with that driver.
Hey, me too. Me too. If you had to choose a team format, what is your favorite team format?
Two-man scramble.
Okay. Very good. No one said shamble yet. I don't even know if that's a thing anymore. I grew up playing in
That's
some
yeah.
shambles.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're
No one
fun,
says that
but
anymore.
yeah. Yeah, two-man scramble though, you just got no pressure really. Not I mean, you got pressure, but you just always have your guy. You always have your partner there.
Yeah, I've always liked the alternating shot because we just call it screw your buddy. We don't say screw your
Yeah.
buddy. We call it something else. But you get what
Yeah,
I'm
sure. Gotcha.
saying? Hey, what's your favorite major tournament that's played on the PGA?
100% the Masters, and that's kind of like where I started liking golf. 1986 Masters, when Nicholas
Hmm.
won there, and my dad told me to watch the Masters that day, and ever since that day, that's been my favorite tournament by far.
Very good. What about your preferred golf company? So in terms of whether it's apparel or whether it's golf clubs, is there a company that you tend to lean towards?
Um, I guess apparel wise, and man, I might have to say one of my companies that I that I
Yeah, go ahead, plug away.
I like Yada Golf a lot. They're a smaller company out of Utah, and really nice people, nice to work with, and they can make good polos.
What about golf clubs, equipment?
I go TaylorMade.
Same here,
Yeah,
same here.
yeah.
What about your favorite golf ball?
Uh, TaylorMade TP5.
Really? Oh, not a
Yeah.
Pro V guy. Okay, that's
Yeah,
fine.
I mean, I like Pro Vs, but you know what? The free ones are the best ones. So I seem to get
I get that.
TP5s more often. Yeah.
Well, there you go. There you go. Now let's talk a little bit about apparel on the golf course. This is a question I ask to a lot of people that golf, whether it's on the podcast or in person. You think joggers should be allowed to be
You
worn
know,
on the golf
I was
course?
hoping this was going to come up because I heard you ask Ken this
Yeah.
question last week, and I felt a little attacked when that question came up because I do wear joggers.
You're a
Uh,
joggers.
I'm glad this came up. Yeah, I I did a little thing for like Rowback, and I would get joggers from the company Rowback,
Yeah.
and I wear these joggers to school, to out on the golf course. I wear them everywhere. I don't necessarily wear them if I'm going to wear a short sleeve shirt.
Mhm.
I'll wear something else if I'm wearing
Yeah.
short sleeve because they just don't look as good. But yeah, I don't mind the jogger thing. I'm not going to hate the jogger
Yeah, that it's each
thing.
their own. It's just really funny, some of the trends in golf. I mean, when I was a kid, shoot, if you weren't wearing a collared shirt in some settings, you were told that you either go buy one from the pro shop or you don't play.
Yeah,
And now you've got the shirts that don't even have a collar. You've got hooded sweatshirts that are acceptable. I'm fine with all of that stuff. It's just crazy how much it's changed in a very short
yeah,
amount of time.
it has changed. Yeah.
Yeah. What about your the worst rule in golf? What would you say is that one rule in golf that you're like, gosh, this is such a stupid rule?
Yeah, I mean the divot rule in the middle of a fairway, you hit the ball down the middle of a fairway, you're in a divot. I think you should be able to move that ball. You're being penalized basically just for hitting a good ball and someone not
Mhm.
doing their job. I don't like that rule. I did a thing the other day, a video just the other day, and and where the pitch mark would have been on the fringe, and the ball ends up on the green right in front of that pitch mark. And apparently, you cannot fix that pitch mark right behind your ball because it's not on the green. And so you'd have to play the putt somehow, despite that pitch mark being right there, but it's not on the green. And I was like, wow, that's a stupid rule too.
I think that in most municipal courses or even some country clubs, they would be really smart to eliminate all white stakes on the golf course.
I like that.
Make everything a hazard. So if you hit it there, you can drop from where it entered the hazard. You'll speed up play a heck of a lot. You'll make the game more enjoyable. That's what I would say. But that's just my own rule that I'm
Well,
trying to create.
and I like that. I like that angle because I'm a big. I'd agree with that one. But how about in course out of bounds? Like that's a stupid thing when I see that. Like,
Okay.
do you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
if you want to try to cut an angle real hard, and so they have the white stakes right down the middle of a fairway, so you
Yeah.
can't like not middle of the fairway, but in the
I know
rough.
what you mean. Yeah.
I don't like that. That's a stupid local rule, I guess. That's not really a rule, but don't like it.
Yeah. I get it. I get it. What's your favorite golf movie?
Caddyshack.
Man, now someone's gonna say Tin Cup one of these days, although it's
Yeah,
Caddyshack for me, but I know Tin Cup's gotta come.
I know you got the Tin Cup intro, so
Yeah, I love that movie.
I like Tin Cup, but Caddyshack just if it's on, I'm gonna watch it.
Absolutely. What's your take on and this is again, everyone's different. What about music on the golf course? You okay with it? Not okay with it? What's your take?
Yeah, it depends on the setting. It depends on like where you're playing at. It depends on who you're playing with too, and like how serious of a match it is. But typically, normally, I'm okay with it. But I don't like to play it like if you're at a country club or something. I'm not going to take out music there.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. Any superstitions on the golf course that you always tend to do no matter what?
If something starts going right for me, like if I'm doing something good, then I'm gonna keep on doing it. Like if I got a ball marked a certain way, um, I'm gonna mark that ball the rest of the way like that. I don't normally like have one mark that I have, but if I'm using a ball that day, like I have been so mad at myself sometimes where I'll go to like, I'm going to use this pinnacle that's in my bag because I'm hitting the ball so bad. And then I birdie a hole with that pinnacle. And I'm like, all right, I'm sticking with this pinnacle the rest of the way.
Very
So
good.
I guess
Hey,
that's a little superstitious, I guess.
yeah, for sure, for sure. I
Yeah.
mean, I sometimes I take it to the next level. Like for instance, where I put things in my pocket's got to be the same every single time. You know, the tees have to be in the correct pocket. The glove goes here. I'm a little bit more, uh, I guess you would say, specific with this type of things.
Yeah.
Even
I'm
when I
not so
tee the ball
specific.
up, the ball's got I got to see the logo's got to be facing me.
Oh,
I'm weird.
wow. Oh, yeah. You're yeah, that's tough.
All right, but I can't let you go without the fact that the one of the reasons why your feed actually caught my attention was you were doing a video of basically like predictions with you and your friends, probably maybe even some family of, hey, what do you think you're going to shoot today? And all of a sudden they started rattling off these numbers, but they were following it up with famous Pittsburgh Steelers. So someone would say, I think I'm going to shoot an 82, Antoine Randall. And I was like, wait a second, they're talking about Steelers. And so I started paying attention. Turns out you're a big Steeler fan. Obviously, I'm a big Steeler fan. It just happened to be that last week's two-man scramble interview with Ken Keller, he was a Steeler fan. This is not intentional, people that are listening, but what's your take on the black and gold this year?
6-3. I mean, they're 6-3. Just be happy. I feel like everybody just analyzes the team like to a certain degree that makes it not fun anymore. And
Yeah.
I just can't imagine that happening back in the day, like back in the 70s or something, if they were 6-3. I mean, you just celebrate. They're 6-3. They're winning games. They might not be pretty, but they're still 6-3. They got a chance to be 7-3. And no matter how somebody plays, if they win the game, I think we should celebrate.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Hey, I love the support them no matter what mentality. I definitely fall into that boat as well. Kane, I do appreciate your time. Why don't you tell everyone out there where they can find you on your social media channels? Because I didn't even mention that earlier.
Yeah, both Instagram and TikTok. I'm at TOC_golf. They're both those pages. I'm also I got a couple of things going on. I don't know if I can plug. Can I plug
Sure.
some
Yeah.
stuff? Yeah.
Absolutely.
Um, Later on this month, we're coming out. I'm coming out with I partnered with a guy, and we're going to come out with a rangefinder.
Nice.
And yeah, the brand's going to be called Rough Dude. That's RUFFDOOD, and it's kind of a play on both the rough and
Hmm.
my dog as well, which is a doodle, a golden doodle. So he's kind of a rough dude. So um, we got a range. I got that rangefinder coming up, and also Golf Link is another place where you can follow me too. It's a new social media site where people get together, and my username on there is just Kane, Kane.
Okay. That's fantastic. I look forward to seeing that rangefinder. It'll be a pretty cool thing to see from someone on the podcast for sure. So, Kane, thank you very much for taking the time. I do appreciate it. Have a great rest of your golf season, the fall, of whatever time we have left, and I'm sure we'll talk again soon.
All right. Thank you so much, Jeff.
No problem. Take it easy.